Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our COVID-19 Minute Clinic. If you're just joining us here today, just ask you in the comments just to give us your name and where you're from. Are you one of those people that are feeling some anxiousness, maybe some anxiety, maybe some worry, maybe some fear, maybe some depression, maybe some resentment? Any feelings or thoughts around COVID-19? Do you or anyone you know are having these problems? This is a very stressful time for all of us, and COVID-19 is causing us to feel a lot of emotions. Maybe some of these are emotions from the past that we're bringing up into the present. But I'm here to tell you that these emotions can be identified and released, and that's what we're going to be doing here today in our COVID-19 Minute Clinic. So welcome. If you just joined us, my name is John Schlapbach. I'm a certified emotion code, body code practitioner, wellness consultant, speaker, teacher, and energy medicine specialist. And I'm here in beautiful Kelowna, British Columbia, the Okanagan Valley. It's about 300 miles inland from the West Coast. And I'm here to help people delete some of these negative emotions. Again, whether you're feeling some fear, some anxiety, some worry, some stress, maybe you're having a lot of negative thoughts, maybe you're having a hard time sleeping because of COVID-19, maybe you're having a hard time thinking clearly. Maybe there's all kinds of things going on for you. Maybe not for you. Maybe I have a hunch, maybe if it's not for you, it might be a family member or a friend who's dealing with a lot of stress. And I know I've worked on some children as well. They're dealing with the stress of not being able to be in school or see some of their friends, including some of the adults that are not able to get together with their friends or family. So this is a very stressful time, and that's why I decided to do this free COVID Minute Clinic here, where I can identify and release some of these emotions for you that may be holding you hostage, causing problems in your body, causing problems in your relationships, causing problems with your finances. There's a lot going on today, and it's important to identify these emotions and release them for you so you can feel a little happier, a little healthier. And how do we do that? We use the emotion code program. So welcome. If you're just joining us here today, just type in your name and where you're from. I'll be looking for 2 volunteers, 2 people that I can work on during this clinic and identify and release some of the emotions that may be, or thoughts that may be associated with COVID-19. So I'm working with a program here. It's called the Emotion Code. Even though I'm a body code practitioner, part of the program is called the Emotion Code. So the Body Code program is the master program, and the Emotion Code program is the major program. Because why? Because that's where we spend a lot of our time and energy, is in the emotional sector. So if you just joined us here today, welcome. This work comes through Dr. Bradley Nelson, he author of the Emotion Code, developer of the Body Code and Emotion Code program. You'll notice there's a foreword here by Tony Robbins, who is very highly regarding this work that Dr. Nelson brought to the world. And I was lucky in 2007 when that book came out. I was fortunate enough to be referred to that book. And I got the book and I started to read it, and I was quite amazed by how emotions can impact our health. Not just our physical health, but our mental health, our spiritual health, or even our physical health can be affected by these emotions. So welcome. If you just joined us here, we're doing our COVID-19 Minute Clinic. My name is John Schlapbach. I'm a certified body code, emotion code practitioner of many years. And I'm wanting to do something to give back to people because I've been able to help so many people over the years with the Emotion Code, Body Code. This is just one of my ways of giving back and offering some free sessions here. So we're looking for 2 volunteers today that would like to have any negative thoughts or emotions that are related to COVID-19, whether it's you, whether it's a family member, whether it's a child. If you're dealing with some stress in regards to this and you'd like to eliminate some of those negative emotions so you can feel a little bit better, a little healthier, a little happier, maybe boost your immune system, then we're looking for 2 volunteers here today. So all you need to do to volunteer is just to put your, give us your name and where you're from. I need number 1, what is the major thought or major emotion you're feeling to do with COVID-19? Again, it might be fear, it might be anxiousness, anxiety, it might be depression even. So we need to know what that is, what the severity of that thought or emotion is for you. In other words, is that emotion, is it overwhelming you? Are you constantly in this state of anxiousness or fear or worry? And then we need to know, once we have your permission, that we can do the work for you and delete these negative emotions or thoughts. And it's called a minute clinic. Why? Because we can identify and release these emotions very, very fast, very, very efficiently, and very effectively. So I'm using the Emotion Code program here, again, developed by Dr. Bradley Nelson. You can get his book online at Amazon. I've been working with Dr. Nelson since 2007, since the book first came out. I started to do the Emotion Code right away, and I became one of his instructors for the Emotion Code. Actually, the only instructor here in Canada for a number of years. So I'm here to help you delete any negative emotions or thoughts that you may have in regards to COVID-19. So all we need from you is just say hi if you're just joining us for the first time, where you're calling from or where you're from, and we will, if you're interested, we need we need the severity of your thoughts or feeling around COVID-19. We need the thought or feeling. Maybe it is, again, anxiousness. Maybe it is depression. Maybe you're in a state of shock. If you look behind me, all these emotions here, there's 60 different emotions. And these emotions have been discovered many, many years ago, and these emotions that are on these charts are 60 of the most common emotions we tend to trap or we tend to unprocess. And once we trap these emotions or unprocess these emotions, they end up in our energy field. And what do I mean by our energy field? They can end up causing a health problem, for example. A lot of unexplained chronic pain is due to unprocessed trapped emotions. And these emotions, once they get caught up in our energy field, they're like a sphere about the size of an orange or a grapefruit. They take up that space in our energy field, and they cause distortions. So if you had a whole bunch of them, let's say in your left shoulder, a bunch of these emotions caught up there, that could be causing a major cause of shoulder pain or discomfort. Maybe if you have some in your lower back, it's very common to have emotions in our kidneys or bladder. And it's interesting, our kidneys connect to our neck, our upper back, our jaw, our lower back. So some of these physical issues that we're having are actually emotionally based. Even the Center for Disease Control says that about 80% of all diseases have an emotional component. So imagine if you could quickly identify that emotion or emotions involved, and you could delete them. Delete them in less than a minute. And how do we do that? We use what we call a magnet. This is a Nikan magnet here. It's balanced with the Earth's magnetic field. You can use it for lots of other things as well. But we just run that magnet over that central governing meridian. And that central governing meridian is connected to everything in our body. And once we run it, usually on average 3 times down that central governing meridian, we're actually deleting that emotion from your energy field. And I've seen things like chronic pain disappear within minutes. I've seen anxiety go down tremendously within a very short time. I've seen things like blocked nasal passages clear because there were emotions causing this. So there's so many things that and ways that emotions affect us. And I'm here to help you identify and release any of these emotions for you in our Minute Clinic. And I see we've got Debbie here. And hi, Debbie. What did I say? I've been seeing John since 2012, and yes, it's been that long. Actually, since 2007, I've been doing this work, and he helped me clear a lot of trapped emotions. Thank you for your work and making my life better. Well, thank you, Debbie. It's always a pleasure working with you, Debbie. And which is interesting because this work is done, 90% of the people that do this work tend to do this work at a distance. In other words, if you're, I've worked with people in Hong Kong, in Portugal, in Canada, in US, many countries around the world, people that have contacted me or hired me because they've had some chronic health issues, or perhaps they're dealing with some issues in a relationship, or maybe they're feeling a little blocked, a little stuck, or maybe there's a project that they want to complete. They just can't get it going. So a lot of these resistance or blocks are based on emotions. And these are what we call negative emotions. And why do we call them negative emotions? Because if you can imagine when you're feeling joy and happiness and elation, you know how when you feel those emotions, how your vibration, how you raise your vibration. So every one of these emotions are vibrating at a specific frequency. So when you're vibrating at joy and happiness, your whole body raises its vibration. Your immune system goes up. Everything works better. You feel good. There's so many different things that in ways that emotions affect us. So, and then imagine on the other side of that, if you're feeling maybe some depression, or maybe you're feeling fear, or maybe you're feeling some anxiousness, or maybe you're even feeling some conflict, some inner conflict. You can just even saying those words sometimes we're lowering our vibration. So if part of your energy field is vibrating at some fear to do with COVID-19, that's also affecting your immune system. It could be causing all kinds of problems. So it's important to be able to identify these emotions and release them. And I can do that for you here in our COVID-19 Minute Clinic. It only takes a few minutes. So we're looking for 2 volunteers today. All I need from you is there a particular thought or emotion, or negative thought or emotion that's affecting you around COVID-19? What I need also is the severity of that emotion or thought for you. Out of a scale of 0 to 10, 10 is very severe and 0 is not so severe. So if you're dealing with some anxiety and it's around an 8 or a 9 out of 10, do you think that's going to have an impact on you? Absolutely. It's not only going to impact you, it can impact people around you, maybe your friends, maybe your spouse, maybe family members. When you're angry, feeling angry, that energy is there. And a lot of people, I know for you that are parents, whenever your children are feeling sad or lonely or angry, you usually as a parent, you can find that, you can sense that in them. And you don't even have to be there with them. Sometimes some people will tell me, yeah, I know my son isn't doing too well because I can just sense it or feel it. I haven't talked to him for a few days. Maybe I need to give him a call. So how does that work? That's all energetic. That's all energy. So when you're feeling these negative emotions, they're having an energetic effect on you. And what we want to be able to do is to delete these emotions and raise your vibration so that you can feel a little happier, a little healthier. And again, so we need your permission to do the work. We need the emotion you might be feeling or thoughts, the severity. And then once I do my session, we just need for you to wait a minute or so and just give us an update. So if you scroll up, you'll see some of the 4 different criteria for having a session here today. So again, welcome if you just joined us. We're doing our COVID-19 Minute Clinic. I'll be doing this clinic Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for the month of May at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So you're welcome to join us. Feel free to tag us and bring some friends along. We're doing some free sessions here using the Emotion Code program, helping you to delete some of these negative emotions. So I'm going to talk a little bit about these emotions. Again, that chart you see behind me, these are the same emotions. So I'll give you an example here. Let's say a part of you is feeling a little vulnerable around COVID-19. Well, vulnerability lies in the same section as the heart or the small intestine. So a lot of these emotions are tied into different organs and glands. So heartache is tied in with the heart, vulnerability, feeling lost or love unreceived. These are emotions that can impact the heart or the small intestine. And they're generated by these organs or glands. And another example, anger is generated by the liver or gallbladder. Frustration, depression, liver, gallbladder. Kidneys are very commonly stressed, and a lot of times it's emotions causing the stress. And I'll give you a few examples there. Fear is definitely can be generated by the kidneys. Also things like conflict, and what else have we got here? We've got feeling blaming or terror or feeling unsupported on some level. These are common emotions that are generated by these organs and glands. And you see behind me these 60 different emotions that Dr. Nelson discovered are the most common emotions we tend to trap in our energy field. And again, they impact our organs and glands, and in turn, they can be found anywhere. They can be found in a muscle, in a joint, in a nerve. Glands, a lot of times when people have issues with their thyroid gland, a lot of times it's emotions that are impacting the thyroid gland. So you see, these emotions are very, very widespread. And any experience that you've had in your life, negative experience, maybe some negative memories from the past, pretty well every major event in your life, you're going to have some emotion tied into that event. And maybe you're thinking back to that time that maybe one of your children got married, and it was such a beautiful ceremony, and it was such a wonderful day, and you felt such joy and such happiness, and you were so proud of your children and all this. And these are things from the past. So again, we can have positive emotions around events or past things in our lives, or we can have negative emotions. Now, if maybe there's something that happened when you were 3 and that you're still holding on to that anger or frustration at 3 years old, that due to some event that happened, well, that emotion is still in your energy field. You could be 33, you could be 55, and all of a sudden it shows up as a shoulder problem or a digestive problem or a sleep issue. There's so many ways these emotions affect us. So if you just joined us today, we're doing our COVID-19 Minute Clinic. We're looking for 2 volunteers today. All we need for you is to type in any particular emotion or thoughts that you have around COVID-19. Give us permission to do the work. Give us the severity of that thought or emotion. And we're going to use the emotion code chart and muscle testing, combination of muscle testing and the emotion code chart to identify these emotions, and then we're going to delete them using our magnet. And how do we do that? We roll it along the central governing meridian. I've been doing this for a lot of years, and it's amazing when you can connect with someone energetically from a distance, and you can find out what's going on or why they're having a health issue or why they're having issues in their relationship or success, and you can identify that and delete it. It's amazing the results that we get for people. I know the other day I was working on someone who was having some negative emotions around the thought that she wasn't able to get on a plane and go and visit her family at this time. So there's a lot of stress and emotions around that. And I believe we found about 3 different emotions for that person there. I think it was 3 or... yeah, and there was some... I think it was there was some sadness, some feeling overwhelmed. some psychic trauma emotions. So there's different types of emotions that you may trap. Our most common emotion is what we call a trapped emotion. Again, it could be any one of these emotions on the chart behind me. Then we have emotions that can be hidden as well. There it is, but it's a hidden emotion, so we need to identify it. Ask if it's hidden. If it is, that once it's hidden, we can bring it out, resurface that emotion and delete it. Again, using our magnet. There are what are called psychic trauma emotions. These are emotions that were discovered after 9/11. Remember 9/11, how that changed the way we thought about a lot of things. There was a lot of stress and a lot of negative emotions associated with that as well. So psychic trauma emotions are when we feel more than one emotion at the same time. And then those emotions, whether it's 2 or 3 or 4, all get caught up in that same sphere of energy. And again, if these spheres of trapped emotions are usually the size of an orange or a grapefruit, and imagine if you had 5 or 6 of them up in your shoulder and neck area there, from even emotions from the past that are there, do you think that would have an impact maybe on your neck or shoulder area? Absolutely, absolutely. And then there's some other emotions that we may experience. These are ones that we absorb from other people. So again, I was referring earlier to, let's say you have a child who's not very happy, feeling some sadness. Well, you can sense that sadness. Sometimes when we pick up emotions in other people, whether it's family members, friends, spouses, whatever, even complete strangers, we can sometimes know when they're sad. So when we feel that emotion, at that point, we have a choice to hang on to the emotion, or we can let it go. If we hang on to that emotion, that's what we call an absorbed emotion. And we absorb emotions all the time from our family, friends, co-workers. So sometimes the emotions were not our own originally. Maybe we have a co-worker who's feeling some anxiousness over the fact that she's only been able to work part-time. And we're feeling that anxiousness. Well, again, our conscious mind, we may constantly choose to take that anxiousness that we're feeling from them and take it on so it becomes part of us. And that's what we call an absorbed emotion. So there's many different types of emotions that get caught up in our energy field. And again, it's easy to identify using our emotion code chart, using muscle testing, and I'll just explain just a little bit. Again, this is a 7-step process, the emotion code, where we use the emotion code chart is number 1. Number 2 is we use what we call muscle testing or applied kinesiology. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this, but this has been around for a lot of years. I started doing applied kinesiology back in the 70s, where I was muscle testing for nutritional deficiencies for myself to make sure that I had enough vitamin C or vitamin D or whatever I needed. And then I started doing it for other people as well. And I've been doing this for many years, just muscle testing. So muscle testing can be done in so many different ways. A lot of times when we've seen someone do a muscle test, we'll see someone hold their arms straight out, and we're doing a strength test here. We're pushing down here and looking for some kind of a muscle response. Usually when it's a strong response, we consider it a yes answer. When it's a weak response, we consider it a no answer. So the muscle test that I tend to use a lot when I'm working with people is it's called a ring and ring. So with a ring and ring, we make 2 little rings here, put our fingers together, and what we're looking for is that ring going to hold or is it going to release? Is it going to hold or release? So I'll give you an example. Show me a yes. A yes for me is a strong response. Show me a no. That's a weak response. So am I John? That's a yes. Am I Bob? No, that's a no. So I'm able to do that muscle testing for you in our session here today. So I can take my subconscious, move it aside, connect to your subconscious energetically, and when I start doing the muscle testing or the applied kinesiology, I'm testing of your subconscious mind. And that's important because if we understand the mind, and there's so much we don't understand about the mind, but we do know a couple of things. One thing we do know, we have a conscious mind and we have a subconscious mind. And when we're working with the emotion code or body code, we're actually working with your subconscious mind. Or any applied kinesiology technique, we're working with the subconscious mind through the body. So in other words, we're using the body, the muscle testing in the body, to ask yes or no questions of the subconscious mind. So do I have any emotion that I can release in regards to COVID-19? If I get a yes, that's a yes. Then what do? We go to the chart, we find out, is it in column A? Is it in column B? Is it in what row? Okay, it's in row 2, column B. Well, there's 5 emotions there. Which one is it? Is it failure? Is it helplessness, hopelessness, lack of control, low self-esteem? We test to find out what emotion that is, and then we release it. And this is, again, your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind knows everything about you. Everything from the time you were conceived. Everything that you've ever felt. Everything that you've ever experienced, everything that you've ever tasted, touched, everything in your life is recorded in your subconscious mind. We call it your super mind. It knows everything about you. So if you have a problem, a health issue, or a problem in a relationship, or you're just feeling stuck and you can't move forward, or maybe you've got writer's block or something going on there, your subconscious mind will know why this is occurring. And how do? We access the subconscious mind again through muscle testing. And we ask, is it this? Is it that? Is it this emotion, that emotion? Once we identify it, we use a magnet to release that emotion. So if you just joined us today, I'm looking for 2 volunteers, just 2 volunteers so we can demonstrate this and show you how this works, how you can feel a little happier, a little healthier, a little bit better here using the emotion code program. Another thing I wanted to share with you, there was a recent study that was done in Oxford University, and they were actually studying muscle response testing. And what they discovered was that the muscle response testing is as accurate, if not more accurate, than most of our medical diagnostic testing that we have today. So again, we're not using the emotion code, body code to treat a particular dis-ease or as a medical form of therapy. This is natural healing. This is energy healing. It's also known as bioenergetics. So we're just here to help uncover or identify any negative emotions or thoughts that you may have in regards to COVID-19. So again, I haven't had any volunteers yet here today, but we're looking for only 2 volunteers so we can demonstrate the work. So if you're interested in volunteering, what I need from you is I just need your name, where you're from, the emotion or thought you might be feeling, emotions or thoughts you might be feeling. And then I will access your subconscious mind. I'll find out which exact emotions that we're talking about here, and I will use my magnet and I will delete them from your energy field. So you can feel a little happier, a little healthier, a little lighter. These emotions that we tend to gather over time tend to weigh us down. And that's why a lot of times we refer to these trapped emotions as emotional baggage. So imagine every single time that you trap an emotion, you're adding something to that baggage, that backpack that you're carrying on your way. Dr. Nelson, the developer of the program, says that pretty well every day of the year we may trap at least one emotion, at least every day of the year. So over time, these emotions build up in our energy field, and they can cause all kinds of issues, not just physical issues, but mental, emotional, and spiritual imbalances as well can be caused from this. So again, we're looking for 2 volunteers. So if you'd like to volunteer, put your name in, give us the emotion or thought, give us the severity out of a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is very severe. We'll do our session on you with your permission, and then we'll have you just check back within a minute or so. Let us know how you're doing. On our first session, I was working with someone who was feeling some, what did she mention to me? It was She was feeling some depression. That was her main emotion to do with the COVID-19. There was some depression there. So once I had her permission and we checked in, we found that the actual severity of this, what she was feeling, was actually a 10 out of 10. So if it's that severe, imagine how it's impacting you. You know what it's like sometimes when you can't just seem to get past that sense of maybe you're angry about something and you just can't seem to let go of that anger. And every time you see that person or every time you think of that situation, that anger bubbles up to the surface. Well, that's what these happen. These emotions get caught up here. So this woman was feeling some depression and asked me, you know, can I help her out? And so what we did was, once I connected to your subconscious mind, and I muscle tested to make sure that I was testing a positive, a yes for her name. Then I was able to go to the emotion code chart and identify these emotions. And actually, there's a few emotions there. Actually, depression was one of them. Another one was resentment that we found there. And resentment can affect your liver gallbladder. And you don't want all those emotions there. Guess what? That liver has over 500 functions. You don't want it being out of balance. So there's resentment, depression, and feeling unsupported, all to do with COVID-19. And so we did some work and we released all those emotions. We got that 10 down, it came down a little bit lower. And then we found what we call a trauma energy. Now, trauma energies, similar to trapped emotions, but I use, instead of using the emotion code chart, I use a trauma energy chart here. So there's 60 emotions on the on the emotion chart, and I think there's about 70 or so on that trauma energy. So she also had a trauma energy of some apprehension. And we identified that, again, through muscle testing and through the chart and finding out which one, column A, column B. We released that apprehension. So when we checked, once we were done, we checked the severity of that, those emotions to do with COVID-19. And remember, it was a 10 out of 10. Once we were done, and how long did it take? Less than 2 minutes. She went from a 10 down to a 0 for severity. You think she was feeling better, a little happier after that? Absolutely. So sometimes all it takes is just getting rid of some of that old baggage and you're going to feel a little better. And as a bonus, we did something else for her, something that I do with the body code. So working with the body code program, the master program, is we work in 6 different categories to identify any imbalances that could be causing problems in your life or maybe blocking you from healing. So I went into the body code chart and we were checking her immune system. So again, we can check every organ or gland in your body. We can check your immune system for functioning, your nervous system. We can check to see if you're in alignment, your spine, whatever. So but we were checking, as a bonus, we decided to check her immune system. And before we did the work, her immune system was functioning at about 65%. So you might think, well, that's pretty good, 65%. But I know for me, that wouldn't be good enough. So running at 65%, does stress affect our immune system? Absolutely. Do trapped emotions or unprocessed emotions affect our immune system? Absolutely. She was feeling depression, and this was causing her immune system to become slightly depressed. So it was only running at about 65%. So once we released all these negative emotions for her, and again, it only took a few minutes, we rechecked her immune system and it was running at 95%. Now, I could live with that. I don't know about you, but I would rather have my immune system running at 95% than 65%. So again, we're looking for 2 volunteers. So if you can give us an emotion or some negative thoughts that you're feeling around COVID-19, give us the severity of that on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is very severe. And with your permission, we will go in using the emotion code chart here again. We'll go in through muscle testing and identify that emotion or emotions you may be feeling. and we're going to delete them for you using our magnet. And as a bonus for any of you who's here, if you'd like us to do a check of your immune system to see how well it's functioning, you can just make a little comment here, give us your name. If you'd like us to check your immune system to see how well it's functioning, we can do that as well. And that's using the body code program. And quite often when I'm in the body code program, whether I'm looking at nutrition or lifestyle imbalances for someone, or energetic imbalances or toxicities, most of the time, or even misalignments maybe in your neck or your upper back or wherever your hip is misaligned, causing you some problems. Quite often, once we identify those misalignments or those toxins or whatever, we can, a lot of times there's emotions that are tagged on to those various imbalances as well. So emotions can underlie just about everything in our lives. And when they're negative emotions, they vibrate at lower frequencies. And when it vibrates at a lower frequency, guess what? You vibrate at a lower frequency. And when you vibrate at a lower frequency, what do you attract? You attract more lower frequencies. I've been working with the law of attraction for many, many years, and I'm not sure, some of you have done this, some of you may not have, but I do some deliberate attracting here. But it's interesting, the law of attraction states that whatever you are vibrating at, whatever you are feeling, whether it's positive or negative, that energy is going out there. So if you tend to vibrate at low frequencies, or maybe you're depressed a lot, guess what? Your whole system is depressed. Not just you, but your whole system is depressed. And so what happens is when we can release that, you can raise your vibration. So we've got someone here, Debbie, she would like us to check her immune system functioning. So we'll have your permission to do that, Debbie. So I'm going to show you how this works. So I'm going to make sure that I'm testable. So my name is John, and I'm getting a yes, strong yes for that. My name is Bob, that's a no. Am I ready to be tested? I'm getting a yes on that. And important, am I hydrated enough here to work here on Debbie in our session here today? Am I hydrated enough to work on you? Yes, I am. Okay, so now that I have your permission, Debbie, and Debbie knows how this works because I've helped her out in the past. So can I act as a proxy then for Debbie Lewis? Yes, I can. Do I have a good connection? Yes, I do. My name is Debbie. Yes, my name is John. No. So now we're energetically connected. Again, I've moved my subconscious to the side. I made an energetic connection to her subconscious, and I'm asking yes or no questions. So can we ask what percentage that your immune system is functioning at here, Debbie? We're getting a yes, we can. So I'm going to ask, is it functioning over 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 80, 81, 82, 83%. So Debbie, your immune system right now is functioning at, what did we say, 82, 83%. So I'm just going to write this down here, Debbie, just so I can keep track here. 82 or 83% within that range. Sometimes you're just 1% either side. That's very accurate, this muscle testing. So would you like us to do, find out why it's only functioning at that level? If you'd like for us to do that, Deb, we'll do that, and we'll see if we can boost it up for you. So just give us a yes on that. So remember, we just tested her immune system using the body code and muscle testing, accessing her subconscious mind. Found out that her immune system is only functioning around 82%. Now, for some people, that's really good. For others, not so good. For me, no. I like my immune system running much, much higher, as high as possible. I want to keep myself. And when you have a healthy immune system, your whole system is much healthier. So we got a yes here from Deb. So her immune system is only running at 82%. So let's have a check here. Am I still Deb? Am I Deb? Yes, I'm Deb. So is there a reason, Deb, why your immune system is only functioning at around 82, 83%? And I'm getting a yes on that. So remember, we're talking to your subconscious. So I'm going to ask, is it emotional? And I'm getting a yes on that. It is emotional, Deb. So we're going to find out what emotions we might be talking about. How many emotions are we talking about for you, Deb, that are affecting your immune system right now? There's 2 of them. So now what do we do? Again, I go to my emotion code chart and I ask, there's 2 columns, 6 rows, and there's 5 emotions in each little section. So I'm going to ask, are any of these emotions, these 2 emotions, are any of them in column A? Yes. Are they both in column A? No. So one of them is column A. So which row is it in here for Deb? Is it in row 1, 2, 3, 4, row 5? Again, kidney bladder row. Remember, if you're dealing with some back issues or neck or jaw issues or even lower leg issues or even the muscles that run all the way from the base of your spine all the way up to your, that's the bladder has a connection to those. So one of them's in the kidney bladder row. So which one is it? Is it blaming? There's some dread there. Does that make any sense, Deborah? There's some dread there. And this emotion is impacting your immune system. And what was the second one? Is it in column A? No, it's in column B. Remember, it said it was in column B. So which row is it in? Is it in row 1, row 2, row 3, row 5 again? There's that kidney bladder. Very, very common row. We find a lot of people have unhappy kidneys or bladders. And a lot of times it's emotions. And those can translate into physical symptoms as well. So the next one here, is it conflict? Yes, conflict. So there's some dread that you're feeling that are affecting your immune system, and there's a little conflict there as well. So now that we've identified those 2 emotions for you, I'm going to ask, are these both your own emotions? Yes, they are. Do we need to know more in order to release them for you, Deb? Actually, no, we don't. Sometimes we need to know how old you were when you trapped that emotion. You could have trapped it at 3 and now you're 33 and it's showing up. Sometimes we need to know what the emotion, well, why do you have that emotion of dread? It's something to do with something that happened at work or wherever it came from. Sometimes we need to know a bit more before we can release them. But if we don't need to know that, we just need to identify that emotion and release it. So the first one is dread. The second one is conflict. So again, are they both your own? Yes. Are any of them absorbed from any other people? No. Are any of them hidden? No. Are any of them shared with some other people? Actually, yes. Both of them? No. One of them is actually being shared as well. Being shared with another person, yes. So is it dread? No, it's conflict. So there's some conflict there. That conflict is not only your own trapped emotional conflict, but you're sharing it with someone else. So are you sharing it with another person? Yes. Is it a family member? No. Is it a female? It's being shared with a male. This conflict a little bit here. Shared with a male. Do we need to know who this male is? No, we don't. We can always ask, but if we don't need to know. So there's dread, and then there's conflict, trapped conflict, and then there's shared conflict. Again, it's being shared. So is that conflict being shared with any other person besides this male? No. So the way that works, it's kind of like COVID-19 in that sense. You get a cold or a flu, and you share it with this person who shares it with so-and-so, who shares it with so-and-so, and it goes around and around and around. And sometimes you're just getting over it, and it just loops and comes right back. So these are what we call shared emotions. And you're sharing this emotion as well with another male. Sometimes it's, yeah, I'm getting a yes on that for you, Deb. So you just gave us a name here, and I'm getting a yes on that. That's being shared. So do we need to know who's shared first? No. So sometimes that person is feeling that emotion about a particular thing. It may not have anything to do with you, but they've shared it with you, or you're sharing it with them. And so it's just sort of going back and forth and back and forth. So if it keeps going back and forth, we need to delete that to stop that whole process. So I'm going to ask, again, do we need to know more about these emotions in order to release them for you? Then, Debbie, no, we don't. So we're going to release the dread here for you. And I'm going to make a few assumptions here. As I'm releasing, I'm going to cover our bases here to make sure that we're covering all our bases. Again, remember there's different types of emotions, so we're releasing the dread for you here. And of course, any hidden dread that may be there, and any shared dread as well, and absorbed dread, and vibrational resonances of dread, and psychic trauma energies of dread and shock. I'm releasing those for you here. And did release that dread to 100%, yes. And I always want to check to make sure that emotion is gone to 100%. I was working on someone the other day. We're doing our online summit with a number of other practitioners. This is a thing that we're doing here this month. And we identified an emotion that this person was experiencing, and it was affecting her creativity. But once we identified it, I went to release it, and I double checked, and was it released to 100%? Actually, no, it was only partially released. So I asked why it wasn't released to 100%. There was actually another emotion underneath that one. So we had to delete that emotion, and then we could delete that one. So I always want to make sure when we're releasing emotions for people that we release them to 100%. So did release that dread for you here, Debbie, to 100%? Yes, we did. And so the next one is conflict. Do we need to know more in order to release it? No. So we're going to release that conflict here for you, Deb. Remember, we're running this along the central governing meridian. And that shared conflict that you're sharing with someone else, we didn't really need to know who you're sharing or why you're sharing it. But and we're going to just make some assumptions here. Maybe there's some absorbed conflict there, some hidden conflict. Maybe there's some trauma energies of conflict, and maybe there's some psychic trauma energies of conflict and shock, and some vibrational resonances of conflict. And take a breath on that one here, Deb. And did release that dread for you. Yes, I did release that conflict. Yes, were they both released to 100% for you then, Deb? Yes, they were. Now, you see, I could have sped that right up. I could have just identified the emotions, jumped in, and just deleted them. But I gave you a little background here along the way. So it only takes a minute or two to do that. So now let's check. Am I still Deb? Am I Deb? Yes, I am. Can we check what percentage is your immune system functioning now, Deb? Is it functioning over 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96%. So we went from 82% functioning of immune system up to 96% functioning. And there was only 2 emotions that were causing your immune system to be depressed. So I'm telling you guys, this is really important work that we're doing. And I'm so grateful for Dr. Nelson to developing this program and allowing me to do this work and help other people. And it's so quick, it's so efficient, and very effective. So for you, Deb, if you can just give us a little comment, wait a minute, take a few breaths, give us a comment, drink some water if you have, let us know how you're feeling or what you're experiencing after that release. Remember, we got her immune system from 82% up functioning to 96%. I'd be much happier with that. So if there's anyone else here on the line that would like us to do a quick session for them, we're just about out of time here today, but I'm looking for maybe one more volunteer that we can, if you're having any negative thoughts or emotions to do with COVID-19, we're going to identify those emotions and delete them for you, get rid of some of that baggage that you're carrying to help you feel a little bit lighter, a little happier. So imagine, again, if you're carrying all these emotions and they're weighing down your neck and your shoulders, and many people have said how much lighter their neck and their shoulders have felt and freer they felt after having some releases done. So yeah, if you could just give us a little comment, Debbie, as to how you're doing. And like I said, we did a little bonus here for Debbie. We not only identified a few emotions and deleted them for her, but we also checked her her immune system. Just using the body code, we checked the immune system. And now we're just hearing back from Debbie. She says, when you cleared the first emotion, and that was dread. Remember, that was dread? I actually felt a warmness from head to toe. Isn't that interesting? A warmness from head to toe. And that's what happens. Some people will feel tingling or vibration. Again, that's your body now. We've brought the emotion up from the subconscious. brought it into our conscious awareness, and that's when we deleted it. Once we brought it into our conscious awareness. And now that we've deleted that emotion, particular emotion or emotions that we deleted are gone and gone forever from your energy field. You may have the same emotions may show up in regards to other situations as well. You can trap the same emotion over and over again throughout your life. But we're deleting them one at a time. And once we delete those emotions, they're gone from your energy field, but the body still has to process what we've done. So your body still has to deal with it, and sometimes for some people it'll take a day or two for their body to process the emotion. And for example, let's say I was working on some shoulder pain, and after we were done with our session, it went from an 8 down to a 3. But it was taking you a day or so to process that emotion. So during that processing time, you're drinking lots of water, you're being kind to yourself, your body's processing it, and then all of a sudden, within a day or so, gee, that was an 8, that shoulder pain, it went down to a 3, and after a day of processing, it's gone. It's completely gone. So again, that warmth that Debbie was feeling when we released that first emotion, that warmth that she was feeling from head to toe, that was her body releasing that emotion and processing it. So you're welcome. I hear Debbie saying, thank you so much for your help. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you guys delete some of these negative emotions to do with COVID-19. So we're just about out of time here today, but I wanted to mention a couple of things to you. I am doing this COVID-19 Minute Clinic Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for the month of May, 9 a.m. Pacific time. You're welcome to join us. You can tag us, bring some friends along if you like, for this Minute Clinic. And we got some upcoming events happening here. I was part of a, it's called Remove Trapped Emotions. I was part of it was called an online summit. You see, there's 5 different practitioners there. We did our second one on Sunday. Our first one that we did was to do with entrepreneurs and business people. We were releasing blocks for them, and my role in that was called procrastination. Why do we procrastinate on getting things done? And so I did some work on there, and then we did another one here last Sunday. It was all to do with the emotion code, using emotion code for abundance and money. And so I run a program for abundance and money for people. But what we did here is we took different parts of that program, and there was five of us practitioners, and what we did was we focused on one part of that program. Helena did limiting beliefs, and John did money ceilings. Cindy did some deleting your scarcity consciousness, and I worked on your insecurity about having money. You know, why are you insecure? What's your insecurities about creating money or abundance in your life? So that was my part. So each one of us had an hour to work on people. I know we had a lot of people involved. I know we've had thousands and thousands of views here of this. So our next one coming up is on the 24th of May on a Sunday. They start at 10 a.m. and they run until 4 p.m. Run until 3 p.m. I'm on at 2 o'clock. I'm the last person there, and I'm going to be talking about resistance to exercise. So the next one is all about health. You know, resistance to drinking water, resistance to exercise. So that's my part, and that's on the 24th. So if you can stay tuned, I'll be posting that on my Facebook. If you'd like to join my Facebook group, you're welcome to join. So that's coming up on the 24th. And then I'll be running some minute clinics, future minute clinics on things like deleting chronic pain. So I have a hunch you know someone, or you're aware of someone that might be dealing with some chronic pain. Maybe it's a back problem. Maybe it's a knee problem that you've had for years and you just can't seem to get rid of it. So I'll be doing minute clinics on deleting chronic pain. I'll be doing some minute clinics on deleting food or drink items. In other words, if there's a particular food or drink that you'd like to eliminate, Maybe it's soda pop. Maybe it's potato chips. Maybe it's, well, we don't want to say chocolate because we don't want to eliminate chocolate, right? You know what they say about the planet? Save the planet. It's the only one with chocolate. But if there's some food or drink items that you like to delete, we can usually delete them within minutes. I'll give you an example. I had some work done on myself about, I like salty things like potato chips and stuff and salted peanuts. And I had a little work done on myself, and guess what? I've hardly had anything like that for months now. I don't even have a craving for it. So we'll be doing them on, so again, we'll be doing them minute clinics on chronic pain. We'll be doing some minute clinics on deleting particular food or drink items for you. We'll also be doing a minute clinic possibly on seasonal allergies. Most people think seasonal allergies are caused from pollen. Do you think, are they caused from pollen, seasonal allergies? Most of them are caused from negative emotions. So stay tuned for these upcoming events. I want to thank you for joining us here today. And for those of us that volunteered, and shout out to Mona Lynn there. Hi, Mona Lynn. Nice to see you as well. So again, our next minute clinic will be coming up this Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Be sure to join us, tag some friends, and we look forward to seeing you. Have a great day, everyone.